Hello, good evening, good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome. My name is Jason, aka Woo Woo J Train. This is Off the Rails, where we do MLB best ball drafting and I don't know, mess around. Hopefully, have a few laughs along the way. Let's see what happens here. Um, Tonight, we're going to do a draft in the dinger. I've done a couple more since my last stream and a couple of funky builds, but that's okay. Probably going to draft quite a few of these, so I don't mind doing a weird build here and there. So let's take a look and see. I'm going to talk exposures real quick. Let's look at, I think there's a draft that's like almost full. So I want to hop into a fresh one if y'all are out there and wanting to draft with the group. So let's just look at the exposures so far. I've done 25 drafts across the dinger and the bunt so far. So this is where I'm at so far. As you can see, this Josh Lowe exposure is kind of nuts. I actually didn't realize that I drafted him all that much. I feel okay about that. That's usually just like he's so late that I'm just trying to like fill out an outfielder or fill out the outfield with an outfielder that I think hopefully should play every day in what sounds like an upgraded park, since they'll be in a minor league park for the season. Pitcher wise, and again, this is through 25 drafts, 7 dingers and 18 bunts so far. I've been kind of doing this thing where I'm just like, especially with pitchers, my last 1 or 2 pitchers are kind of always the same. So like I have a lot of Gavin Williams. I have a lot of Merrill Kelly. Spencer Arrighetti goes pretty late. I got a good amount of him. Taj Bradley. So those are kind of like the 4 late guys that I've been targeting. I've got some DJ Hurds mixed in here at 16%. And I've started getting a little bit of, what's his face? Jeffrey Springs. I think I've got a couple of shares of him too. But for the most part, like you're going to see, and I mean, it's probably going to happen tonight during the draft. I love to live in this range of pitcher. Like, I want to get like 1 or 2 aces if I can. But if I can get like, the 9th through like the 8th through 12th, 8th through 13th round, there's quite a few pitchers in there that I like. And I mean, you're going to see that just in the exposures here. So, that's kind of what I've got so far. Infielder, I genuinely cannot believe that I have 2 catchers as my highest rostered so far in these contests. Again, 7 dingers and 18 bunts, so not too many. I keep seeing stuff about Yainer Diaz, especially among the Roto community, talking about how he's like the 2nd or 3rd, depending on who you ask, catcher on the list. Let me look at the dinger real quick and see. I thought there was one that was basically full. I'm going to try to jump in one real quick. Yeah, we need 3 more people. Just got a couple people in the chat tonight, and that's fine. That's cool. It's a Wednesday night. So yeah, Rob, I'll hop in this one. We need 3 more to join. Crew 2024 never catcher, 2025 always catcher. Yeah, kind of, man, for real. By and large, the only catcher I was drafting last year that I can remember is William Contreras. I had quite a bit of him. But this year, man, like the Yainer Diaz, especially, I don't know. Like I'm excited to see what projections are going to say about him, because at this point I'm just guessing. Like ATC just came out with theirs, but really I need the bat. I need the bat to come out to really feel good about anything, I think. But like Yainer Diaz feels like he might be an utter and complete smash. He's a 19th, 20th rounder. Will Smith is going way too late. And like, yeah, Shohei, is going to DH most of the time. So we might lose some at bats for Will Smith, but I feel like he kind of had a down year last year. It just kind of feels like a solid floor guy, super late. Muncie is still underpriced, but he's climbing. I've been all over Mark Vientos lately, just trying to get more of him. I just feel like he's one of those dudes who could just go absolutely ballistic in spring, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that guy is now batting behind Juan Soto." So, um, trying to get him mixed in. Josh Young is still here on the list. As far as outfielders go, I've been working a lot more Lars in. I'm just praying the Nolan Jones thing works out this year. Um, Mike Trout under 30%. That's actually kind of surprising. I'll try to get that number up a little bit. Julio's been my like target at the turn. You know, if I have the 10th, 11th, 12th pick, I'm almost always drafting Julio at the turn there. He's so talented. That park sucks. Like Seattle's not a good park for hitting, but he's got all the talent in the world, and I'm just kind of making a bet that like this is the year it puts it all together for the entire season. So that's where I'm at right now. We only need one more to fill this dinger, so I'll go ahead and hop in it. Billy, it's a lot of solo Nolan Jones. Honestly, I don't really like the Rockies all that much. Michael Tolia's price has been dropping quite a bit, and he's fun. He kind of reminds me of an Adam Dunn type, where it's like all or nothing. Like he's just gonna smash. You know, like he could hit 35 home runs this year and bat 210. You know, like we don't care about batting average necessarily, but I feel like there's worse, you know, picks late. Ugh, I got the 11th. I truly hate the 11. It's brutal. Jesus Sanchez price too. See, yeah, Miami sucks, but he's the everyday 3-hitter in the 200s. Yeah, I'm usually done with outfielder by the time I get there, but I've been trying to get a little bit more Jesus Sanchez in there. Like, yes, Miami does suck, and you know it's not the best ballpark to hit in, but he put up almost 1,100 points last year, I think, right? Let's take a peek. Yeah, 1025. You know, power speed combination. Like if he goes, you know, 2020 or 2025, I don't know exactly how much speed he's got. I need to do a little bit more research on him. But yeah, he feels like a decent pick late. I got some of him in the bullpen. I'm probably like, if you had to ask me today, I'll probably get, you know, over the field on Jesus Sanchez. But I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely going to have to be going to be one of those things where I make up my mind after, you know, projections come out. That's really just going to be like who's being underdrafted and who's being overdrafted, and then my exposures are probably going to change based on that information unless I got everything right or everything wrong. So what's the advantage of stacking in the attorneys? I'm assuming you're talking about just like the best ball attorneys. I know because I watched the Stacking Dingers episode from today. If you don't follow those guys, you really need to. Billy Jones here in the chat is one of the Stacking Dingers guys. That's Dark Sheep. Our guy Chris, B3ISBOL. Those dudes they do great work in the space, but they're going to have some stacking information come out next week. And I think that's the game plan at least. And that's really going to, I think, kind of speak volumes about how we truly feel about stacking. My gut reaction answer as I click Jose, actually, you know what? I'm going to try to work more Mookie in because he's on the Dodgers and I just want more Dodgers offense. I don't like stacking typically more than 4 players from any one team. And I said at the beginning of the stream, at the turn, I'm almost always taking Julio Rodriguez if I can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Mookie Julio feels like a really, really nice start. But I don't like to stack more than 4 guys on one team. Position-wise, I don't want more than 3 in one position. So I don't want, you know, an infielder like the Dodgers. Let's take them, for example. Like Mookie, Muncy, Edman, Like those three are good. I wouldn't do Will Smith with those three. Just I don't know. It doesn't feel good to have four players from one team in one position. To me, I don't know if that's correct. Hopefully, the data that we get soon on that from the Stacking Dingers guys will kind of clarify that a little bit. But there's definitely merit to stacking. I don't think it's as important as it is in the NFL because with an NFL stack, like it's one game for 1 week, especially in the playoffs. Baseball, it's two rolling 1 week periods. So stacks really gotta go off for excuse me an extended period of time to make it work. But I think you just want pieces of certain offenses. Obviously the Dodgers are going to be incredible again this year. I am a huge fan of the Rangers stack. I think they have a lot of really nice pieces that are currently cheaper than they should be. The Phillies are pretty fun to stack in spots. Who else? Drawing a blank. Let me look at the thing. Braves, obviously. Braves are nice to stack. Boston's got some fun stacking pieces. I know a lot of people are stacking the Cubs. I'm not getting to many of the Cubs. It's really hard for me to pay this price for Ian Happ. It's really hard for me to pay Seiya Suzuki's price. He is down here somewhere. There he is. And that's not necessarily a fade of the player. It's just like how I'm building teams. Normally, I've got at least two outfielders by this point, and I'm not like itching to get Seiya Suzuki on my teams right now. Again, we'll see what the bat says, see how that all works out with the various projection systems and whatever. That's just kind of what I'm doing right now. So I hope that answers your question. One thing I talked about a little bit, I think on my last stream, was pitcher stacking. I could see myself doing a little bit of pitcher stacking, but there's only a few staffs where I want to try to pull that off. The goal there would be, like for me, you're kind of not guaranteeing in a way, but like it's more predictable if you have three pitchers from one staff, for instance, that one of those guys is probably going to get a 2-start week or is more likely to get a 2-start week than if you're just drafting random pitchers. That's kind of my thought process. Excuse me, sorry. Flip side of that is if you're drafting random pitchers, you might have two of them have a 2-start week. Like the 2-start week thing is just one of those things that's not really predictable in any way. So stacking, probably just three pitchers from one pitching staff can make that a little bit more predictable, I guess. And those 2-start weeks are huge in the playoffs, especially if you get them out of, guys like Logan Gilbert. Like thinking about Seattle. I don't have much Luis Castillo, but him, Gilbert, Kirby, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu was there late too. So might try to do a little bit of pitching staff stacking, but it's not something I'm gonna try to force. So by the way, I see a few usual suspects in here. We've got Dan in here. We've got FK Coolers in here. Hockey Hooligans in the draft. I saw Rob, you got the 101, you lucky duck. So I don't know how many of you are in here. I know Rob's in here, but we got a nice little room here. All right, we've got a pick coming up here. So far, I've got Mookie and Julio Rodriguez. We'll see what Dan and FK Coolers do, and then we'll go from there. I've not been getting much Ketel Marte, and that doesn't feel great. But at the same time, I'm not like worried that Ketel Marte is going to ruin my life. I just kind of don't know what to do with it. Like if I put Trey Turner and Ketel Marte against each other, I mean they're right next to each other basically. I've been taking Trey Turner the huge majority of the time. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's kind of what feels good right now. Let's go ahead and I would rather have Santander here than anybody else. So I'm going to do that. And then we will see what Schweck does here. I have a really hard time drafting Ian Happ or Michael Harris over Santander. Just truly. Do you think you'll max the dinger? That's possible this year. I haven't fully decided. Trying to decide if I want to just kind of put all my eggs in the dinger basket, or if I want to do like maybe I'm just making numbers up 100 dingers and then do a bunch of little eliminators and like maybe a frozen rope or something like that. So I haven't fully decided, but last year, I can't remember how many of these I did, but I think I got over 100. Let me make this pick real quick. So we've got Betts, Rodriguez, and Santander so far. I'm going to go ahead and lean into this smoke about Pete Alonso being linked to the Blue Jays. So just kind of doing a speculative stack here with Santander and Alonso. Even if it doesn't work out and he doesn't go to Toronto, like I'm pretty cool with Pete Alonso there. He's kind of the archetype of player that I'm looking for in this contest, where he can just rack up home runs in bunches. Had a little bit of a down year last year. Definitely did not have the home run production from the previous 2 years, but could bounce back. And if he goes to Toronto, that offense is going to be pretty fun to watch with Alonso, Vlad, Santander. Like if Bo Bichette resurrects himself, man, that could be a really, really fun offense to watch. Why is this not doing what I want it to do? Let's see. He could go to Seattle too, fits with the J-Rod pick. Yeah, definitely. That's, I would rather have him in Toronto, I think. I need to look at the park factors between those two, but I know Seattle's pretty rough. But yeah, I think too, if Alonso gets signed by Toronto, I could see his ADP rise a little bit. I don't think it's going to go crazy, but if he goes to Toronto, I don't think he's going to stay this cheap, and it'll be a little bit more difficult to click him if he's in like the low 30s. I'm not good at prognosticating ADP swings when things happen, but that's just kind of, I don't know. I just feel like if he signs with Toronto, his price is probably going to increase a little bit. Amongst the entire draft, I feel like this range of player is kind of like my sweet spot. Like I love Trout, obviously. I've been trying to take Rob, basically, like you just did exactly what I would have done in that situation. I would have done it immediately. I wouldn't have thought about it. But in that exact spot, like I'm double tapping Trout and Crochet and just moving on. If I don't do that, I would have stacked. Since you have Olsen, the only other thing I would have maybe done, but just me, right? I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I love that double tap there. But I've been trying to stack Albies with, various Braves, and I think I've got him paired with Matt Olson quite a few times. So was deciding between pitcher and Riley Green there. Yeah, I don't really like it, but Riley Green is a guy that I think I might be out on this year. And again, it's not like a fade of the player necessarily. It's just who I have to pass up on to get him. And it's going to be really, really difficult for me to pass up on Crochet, Trout, Albies, even Simeon sometimes around there. That's a pretty tough ask. Yelich just went a little bit ahead of ADP, which stinks because I was really hoping he would come back to me. We got a Dodger. Let's see. What do I want to do? I actually don't know. I'm going to roll the dice with Luis Robert. He is quite literally the only White Sox player who is draftable in this contest, in my opinion. Like, I mean, if you want to draft Andrew Vaughn or Andrew Benintendi in the 20th round, like, you can go ahead and do that. But I will not be joining you because they are not very good at hitting. Let's do. I don't know that I want to go. Let's lean into the Cody Bellinger thing. Let's see if he can do some damage in New York. I actually don't mind that. But back to Luis Robert, like, the dude is so talented, but I think that his will to live has been sucked from him by that god-awful franchise. Who, if you are unaware, I have been a White Sox fan my entire life. So any White Sox fans who hear that and like, oh, don't talk about their ass, okay? Just know that. I know that deep in my soul. They got a lot to fix before they earn my love back. But dude, he's literally the only White Sox player that you can draft in this contest, I think. So that tells you how bad the offense is going to be around him. Like, he's basically going to have to be a one-man wrecking crew. And I don't know. I don't want to think this, but it just kind of seems like he just didn't care last year. And I mean, I don't blame him. I really don't, to be quite honest. Best case scenario, not for the White Sox, but for him, is he gets traded somewhere. And the White Sox are going to ask for just the moon, the sun, and the stars for him. So I don't know that that's going to happen. But, you know, if he were to get traded to another franchise, I would assume it would most likely be a contender, and that would be awesome. So, you know, I don't know what to make of him. I'm probably going to be underweight or even with the field on him. Coolers forced Yelich ahead of ADP since he had Churio, which is smart. I totally get that. Churio is another one of those guys that, like, God, I don't want to, but man, it's so hard to click his name at that price. I mean, he's very, very expensive. He's also very, very good. So he could, you know, wind up working out. But I would like to see a little bit more power out of somebody that you're going to take, you know, at a 17 ADP. Coolers, this is a nice looking team, man. Yeah, this is fun. I like it. Let's recap my team real quick. Stop admiring others. I got to beat the competition, not fall in love with them. I picked from the 11 spot. So that's where I'm at. So far, I have a 0-2-4 build, which is one of my favorite ways to start. So Mookie Betts and Pete Alonso are the two infielders. The outfield, Julio Rodriguez, Anthony Santander, Luis Robert Jr., and Cody Bellinger. So this is a little bit different of a start for me because I don't have that much Alonso. I don't have that much Robert, and I definitely don't have much Bellinger. So this is going to be a little bit of a different team, which is good. Got to diversify a little bit. Duke chiming in. He's grabbing Lou Bob too. Let's keep that trade vibe alive. Yeah, I mean, if he gets traded to a contender, it just kind of feels like he's an auto smash at that ADP. The other big issue with him is he has a really, really hard time not getting hurt, which is really frustrating. Not just as a fan of the team, but like, I just want to see the best baseball players play and not have to deal with injuries all the time. He's had a hard time staying healthy. He was running quite a bit more last year. It felt like he was running a lot more last year. than in previous years, especially toward the end of the year. So I'm hoping that that trend continues. But I mean, we'll see how it plays out. So I'm going to draft Junior Caminero here because his price is going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And there's at some point, I'm going to have to say I'm out. So until that day comes, I'm going to go ahead and start drafting him. All right. Let's see. What do I want to do here? I don't really feel the need to reach for a pitcher right now. Let's go ahead and let's lean into the Martian. Let's stack him with Cody Bellinger, Jason Dominguez. I have absolutely no idea what to expect out of him. But he is a big, big time prospect. And, you know, the little nugget of information here says he's set for a significant role in center field. I would expect him, you know, based on that, to play every day. You know, he's a Yankee. So if he goes in there and like in spring training and just absolutely smashes, his price is going to rocket because he's on the Yankees. And you love you some J-Dom. Yeah. I'm going to work him in here and there. He's not a guy I want to fade completely. I'm not hugely into drafting rookies necessarily. But in that spot, like, I don't really love Arizona for Josh Naylor. Like, it's not good for lefty home runs. So I just don't love that spot. I'm probably not drafting CJ Abrams at all this year. I want to see where Bregman lands. Like, I don't know. It just kind of felt like the right spot to take Dominguez there. So 13 picks away. Let's forecast. So 107 and 110. So let's kind of scroll down. Probably gonna lean into a pitcher or two at the turn here, if I had to guess. We'll see what's there. Good question from SB here. Are you targeting any players you think will rise before spring training? I'm going to try to get as much Junior Caminero as I can right now because I'm already seeing a ton of chatter about him on Twitter. So going to try to get ahead of him. I also think that people are going to realize, they kind of have already, but I think even more so, I think they're going to realize that Max Muncy is underpriced and Yainer Diaz is another guy. Pitchers are a little tricky trying to get out ahead of them because I don't know. It takes a little bit longer, I think, for them to show you something in spring training or the off season. It's like, okay, I'm going to target this dude now. But offensively, like, I don't know, maybe Christian Encarnacion Strand from Cincinnati. Like, I don't know if he's going to play every day. We'll have to see, but he's got a ton of power. I could see him rising. I'm starting to see some Garrett Mitchell buzz, which gives me the warm and fuzzies because he's been a guy I've targeted the last couple of years. Excuse me. Last year didn't work out well. But like, if that dude can actually finally stay healthy, like maybe there's 20/20 upside for him. I'll try to do a better job of answering your question, SB, as I get further into the draft, because I'm sure that there's other guys that I think are going to rise going into spring training that I'm going to try to get out ahead of. I think now is probably going to be a good time to take our first pitcher. So let's go ahead and do the Hunter Brown thing. He looked incredible toward the end of last year. I'm just going to bet on that continuing. So we'll grab him. And then, oh, wow. Did someone already grab McClanahan? Did I miss that? Am I stupid? Hello? Did I scroll past him? Is he further down, I think? Oh, he's all the way the hell down there. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I've been really leaning into Grayson Rodriguez Like, this is a former just huge, big time pitching prospect. And my thought process on him is just like, if he's going to be that dude, if he's that guy, if he's the prospect who's going to pan out, I'm just kind of banking on this being the year he breaks out. That's it. That's all it is. What I've seen so far on like limited projection systems that are out there, I feel like I looked earlier today or yesterday and it wasn't looking amazing for him at this price. But again, I'm primarily waiting on the bat. I want to see what the bat thinks. And then once that's out, then all these other aggregated systems will have, those numbers built in. But I'm just kind of, just willing it into existence that this is the year that Grayson Rodriguez breaks out and massively pays off a 10th round price. That's it. I like his strikeouts per inning pitched. Gave up a few too many runs last year. Like, it felt like he could get lit up here and there. And then he did have that lat injury, which, any injury like that is a little scary, but he's young and I think he's hopefully going to be healthy. So just trying to load up on him right now, because I feel like sometimes we have these post-hype prospect guys, right? Like Grayson Rodriguez was the dude, a year or two ago? I think 2 years ago. He was like that prospect that people wanted to draft because we thought he was going to come up. We thought he was going to be awesome. Last year, you can't say he was bad last year, but he wasn't like amazing. So he's one of those dudes, like, if he winds up projecting well in a couple places, I could see him starting to get talked up like, oh, this could be the year. So I'm trying to maybe get ahead of that a little bit. I'm just guessing, at this point. 8 picks away. And I think I know what I'm going to do already. I'm not going to tip my hand, though. I'm going to pull up the draft board. Rob with the Schwellenbach, Kodai Senga, back-to-back. I don't know what to make of the Schwellenbach thing. I'm going to wait for his ADP to kind of settle, which I feel like kind of has. I mean, him sitting at this 120 area feels okay. Is that where he's normally going? 117. Okay. Yeah, we'll see what his price winds up being once the dust settles. I've got a 2-3-5 build so far. So go and recap the team. The 2 pitchers are Hunter Brown and Grayson Rodriguez. I have them paired together a lot. I probably need to break them up a little bit. The infield is Mookie Betts, Pete Alonso, Junior Caminero. And then the outfield is Julio Rodriguez, Anthony Santander, Luis Robert Jr., Cody Bellinger, and Jason Dominguez. Based on the draft capital that I've spent at outfield in this draft, this is probably going to be a 6 outfield team, more than likely. All right, we're up next, and wasn't planning on it, but let's go ahead. I mean, I could take Anthony Volpe for the stack, but I'm going to go ahead and take Vinny. I have virtually none of Vinny Pasquantino right now, and I don't love that. I really, really don't love that. You thought he had no chance of Schwellenbach coming back to me? Yeah, that wouldn't have happened. You had to take him there if you wanted him. I agree with that. Let's see. Got Brown and Grayson. I know I'm only going to do 6 outfielders. I feel like I have to take a pitcher here. Sorry. Thinking. I'm going to take Sandy. I was between him and Jordan Westberg. I'm really into Jordan Westberg this year. I just don't feel like my offense needs it, and this team just feels like it needed a pitcher right there. I would have ruined Cooler's evening if I would have taken Westberg. Now, as a troll, I wish I would have. Dan going with Nolan Jones. That stacking him. Oh, you got a whole Colorado thing going on here, Dan. I like that. Doyle, Jones, and Tovar. If you want to get really spicy, you can do a Tyro Estrada in the last round. He owes me so much money from last year. Oh my god. Ugh. Okay. Since you partially ruined it, taking G-Rod at pitcher. Man, I can only imagine the level of tilt if I would have taken Westberg for me there too. Just two brutal snipes. Yeah, with this team that I've got currently, like I invested a good amount of draft capital outfielder. Like I try to draft every team like it's correct, right? So if I get the outfield right here, I don't need an outfielder in this spot. I'd already had 4 infielders that I feel really, really good about. I just don't know that Westberg helps this team as much as a pitcher does. And, I don't love Sandy Alcantara, but feels like an innings eater, and just kind of hoping he has a healthy season. And I don't know, maybe he gets traded, because the Marlins are going to be terrible. So. Sorry about that. All right, 7 picks away. 3, 4, 5 build. Hunter Brown, Grayson Rodriguez, Sandy Alcantara. Infield is Betts, Alonso, Caminero, and Pasquantino. Outfield, J-Rod, Anthony Santander, Luis Robert, Cody Bellinger, and Jason Dominguez. Basically shutting outfield off for a while here, I think. It's probably the smart thing to do. It'll help me not draft Josh Lowe for the 900th time. Dude, if Josh Lowe does not work out this year, I am in shambles. Complete and total shambles. And when I say work out, I don't need him to put up 1,300 points, right? I just need him to put up 1,100 minimum, not even minimum, but just if he can put up 1,100 in this spot, I'm probably feeling good. But if he puts up 850, oh geez, it's all bad. It's all over. Let's see. 4 picks. Do we like any pitchers in this range? Like a couple of them. Is Mackenzie Gore ever gonna actually truly put it together? I mean, I gotta tell you guys, this is just a horrendous run out for me. Muncy and Ray were the 2 guys that I actually really wanted to draft here. So let's, man, that really sticks into my craw. Let's go with Jack Flaherty. Let's do it. He was really, really good last year. No idea who he's going to pitch for this year, though. But just hoping he duplicates that success from last year. And let's go ahead and do... I don't know that I trust the Reynaldo Lopez thing, and that's probably stupid because that comes from him being bad for the White Sox and then immediately being insane for the Braves. So out of spite for my own fandom, let's go ahead and take Reynaldo Lopez here. Let's see what happens. But again, I'm trying to build something different here, and I don't have much Flaherty or Lopez to pair with some other guys I don't have much of. So Cooler saying Ray and Gore were your 2 Q guys right there, and you wanted Ray more. Yeah, Ray is probably going to be one of those guys who, I mean, he's already risen a decent chunk. So SB, this is another guy. Robbie Ray, the dude is perfect for this format because, I mean, he can be just downright brutal in one start, and then the next start, like strike out 14 guys. He's either hot or cold, assuming he's the same guy he was before he was injured for like 2 years in a row. So let me pull him up from last year. Not last year, but so 2024 pitched 30 innings. The year before that, 3. But the 2 years before that, I mean, just incredible. So we haven't actually seen like a reliable sample size in Robbie Ray in 2 years. But man, if he's that 2022, 2021 version of himself, he's going to smash. Any hope for Sean Burke? I don't have any hope for any of the White Sox players. And this is not me like, being a self-loathing White Sox fan. Is just truly objectively from a fantasy perspective. There's only one person on the White Sox who I have any interest at all in drafting, and it's Luis Robert. I don't have any interest in any of their pitchers. Guys like Noah Schultz, and the other lefty, good Lord, my brain just died. There's another lefty who's very good in the farm system. If they come up at all this season, I mean, they're not going to pitch any amount of innings that's going to help you at all. Like you could take a stab at whoever you want to, but I will not be drafting any White Sox players other than Luis Robert Jr. Truly. Some of y'all can, go back to the Martin Perez wheel. Excuse me, if you'd like to. I've never understood why people would draft Martin Perez. But for some reason, people were getting there when he was on the Rangers. So, I mean, I guess you could do that, but I don't have any hope for Sean Burke. Not in fantasy, in this contest. Like, maybe he winds up being good at some point for them, but this is not the year. We try to hit stacks 776. I'm not 100% sure if I'm getting the question, so if I don't answer it right, let me know. But most of my teams are going to be 7s and 6s. So to your point, 776, 767, 677, whatever. Within that, I will try to stack some offenses if I can. I'm not necessarily going to force it, but I will definitely stack from time to time. I'm also going to play with stacking some pitching staffs here and there. I'm going to take Brandon Pfaadt right now because he feels like another guy who could start rising in the spring. So I've got a 6-4-5 build. I think this is definitely going to wind up being a 7-7-6 team. Let's go ahead and do the Tommy Edman thing to stack with Mookie. And because I can't draft Josh Young in every single draft I do, I'm got too much of him. Waiting for the bat to come out and tell me that I'm right, that he's way too cheap. Because if it tells me I'm wrong, then it's again all over. But to answer your question, I will try to hit stacks within 7-7-6 builds. Stack infield and pitching. I don't necessarily, if I'm doing a stack offensively, the only way I'm looking at it from a positional standpoint is I don't want too many guys from one team in one position. So I'm not going to want 4 Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are a terrible example because they're freaking awesome. But, they're the only team I can think of off the top of my head. They're going to have 4 infielders. I don't want 4 infielders from the Dodgers as my 4-man Dodger stack. I would like 3 and then an outfielder, or like 2 and 2 if I can swing it. From a pitching staff perspective, I do think the staff stacking is interesting because it should, I think in theory, make it a little bit more predictable-ish that you're going to get 2 start weeks in the playoffs from at least one of those pitchers on your staff. But there's only like 3 or 4 pitching staffs that I really have any interest in stacking. Off the top of my head, Houston with Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Arrighetti, that one's fine. Literally all of the Seattle guys. Arizona a little bit. Gallen fought. Kelly seems a little fun. Philly with Wheeler, Nola. We can try to have the Ranger Suarez thing happen again. Jesus Luzardo's there now. So I will do a little bit of, Christopher Sanchez, forgot about him. I will do a little bit of pitcher stacking. When is Cardi releasing the bat projections? I wish I knew. I thought I saw him respond to somebody and say, if not this week, then next week. I believe that's the case. But go check his X account, his replies, and see if you don't follow him or if you're not on X. I believe he said this week or next week, which it's Wednesday already. So I would guess next week if I'm correct in remembering that. But yeah, I mean, once the bat comes out, like that is going to reveal to me which guys I have guessed correctly on, which guys I have guessed incorrectly on, as it pertains to, are they being drafted ahead or behind of where they should be getting drafted? I've never been more confident that for sure Max Muncy is going to be underdrafted. Like, I will be floored if the bat comes out and says that he is not one of the better values in the pool right now. I'm not going to draft Will Smith here because I have a lot of him right now, and I don't love overexposing myself, and I kind of have a plan for later. So let's go ahead and finish off outfield with Lars Nootbaar. So I will be turning outfield off. And I might just start scrolling. Or I could take my last pitcher. Let's see. A ton of Gavin. You know what? Let's start working him in to my dinger exposures. Brandon Lau, you and your injured back, come on down. This is why I'm drafting him. Okay, this is why. This might be stupid, and that's okay. I'm okay with being stupid. It's my money. I'm allowed to be stupid if I want to. This is why I'm drafting him. Yes, that was in 2021. When you look at, I looked at a Savant page recently, and there's a good amount of red. Like, I think that the guy can still hit. And it sounds like that park that they're going to be playing in this year is going to be better for left-handed power. It's just a case of A, him staying on the field, B, the Rays like chilling out with being the Rays and trotting out a new lineup every single game. But I don't know. I've just kind of always had this thing for Brandon Lau because I feel like there's something there that could be unlocked if the guy could just stay on the freaking field. So we're going to go ahead and start working him in a little bit. Oh, and he stacks the Caminero. I forgot about that. I'm not going to lie. But it's handy that he stacks with Caminero. So let's recap the team real quick. We got 2 more picks to make. Again, drafting from the 11th spot. I currently have 6s across the board for my build. So 6 pitchers: Hunter Brown, Grayson Rodriguez, Sandy Alcantara, Jack Flaherty, Reynaldo Lopez, Brandon Pfaadt. 6 infielders: Mookie Betts, Pete Alonso, Junior Caminero, Vinny Pasquantino, Tommy Edman, Brandon Lau. And then the outfield is Julio Rodriguez, Santander, Luis Robert Jr., Cody Bellinger, Jason Dominguez, and Lars Nootbaar. So we're definitely going to do a 7-7-6 here. I could reason doing an 8-6-6 if I wanted to get a little funky. So I'm not going to rule that out. We'll see what you all do. There we go. Eventually this little cough I've been dealing with is going to go away little by little. We're getting there, guys. All right. Let's talk about some late round targets here. I mean, if Will Smith comes back to me, guys, I'm just going to queue him up. Just letting you guys know. Just do it. Rhys Hoskins was one of my favorite guys last year. Oh, he's gone. And that didn't go well. It did not go well. He just went. I think there's worse picks this late than Rhys Hoskins. He wound up platooning a lot with was it Jake Bowers? I think it was Jake Bowers, right? So that was kind of annoying. Let's talk about some late round pitchers and infielders here. I got 4 picks until I get here. So Merrill Kelly's a guy that I've got quite a bit of. I'm not going to draft him this time because I want to get something new here. DJ Hurts a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to do the Jeffrey Springs thing. Let's do it. Oakland's probably going to trot him out there quite a bit. So, all right. And then the last pick is going to be an infielder. I might just scroll and scroll and scroll. Brooks Lee. Keep forgetting about Logan O'Hoppe, like for crazy Angel stacks, but just, I don't know. Catcher this late just feels like you're waiting to get your soul destroyed by lack of ABs. Oh, man. I don't know what to do here. Do we go young or do we just go with somebody who's going to play every single day? I think I'm just going to go with somebody who's going to play every single day. If Carlos Correa can get right, like getting him in the 20th round seems insane. But that if he can get right is carrying a lot of weight there in that statement. Yeah, so that's it. 7-7-6 is how we're ending the build. I like this team because it's different for me. In a few ways. Like there's some of like get your guys, like you have a ton of Grayson and quite a bit of Brandon Fott, but mixing in some kind of new guys with some guys that I've drafted a lot of. So I'm really banking on this Julio Rodriguez bounce back here this year. Like I'm gonna need that pretty badly because I think that I might wind up being like 20% or more on him this year. Just the positional scarcity of the outfield, especially if I get this 10th, 11th, 12th pick, it's really difficult to get one of those, like one of these, 7 outfielders to fall down to you. If one of them does in the 10th or 11th or God willing, the 12th, you pretty much have to take one. But if there's no outfielder here, I just feel like in the 12, sometimes you can, like, I'll double tap Julio with Schwarber or Julio Duran Schwarber. I didn't say Jackson Churrio's name at all because I'm kind of fading him right now, and it does not feel good. It really doesn't feel good. All right, Rob's going to make the last pick here, and then I will do one last little recap of my team. And then, a couple of you guys are in here, so we'll take a look at your teams too and see what we think. Saw a lot of good starts. I'm really interested to see what Rob does here. We'll never know. Wah wah. All right. Completed. Let's see if we can get this thing to reload. Nope. Hello. Sorry, guys. And it's showing still active. Nope. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this isn't working at the moment. I am perplexed. Hold on one second. Let me try something real quick. Aha. I outsmarted it. There we go. All right. Cooler saying that was his first dinger draft. If you decide to review the whole board, feel free to shred mine. Ah, man, I'm not going to shred anybody's team. Unless you do something absolutely ridiculous, like a 9-pitcher build or something, I might kind of roast you a little bit for that. But you know what? It's your money. You draft whatever the hell you want to draft and have fun doing it, you know? All right. So my team out of the 11th spot, a 7-7-6 build, Hunter Brown, Grayson Rodriguez, Sandy Alcantara, Jack Flaherty, Reynaldo Lopez, Brandon Pfaadt, Jeffrey Springs is the pitching staff. And then the infield, Mookie Betts, Pete Alonso Jr., Caminero, Vinny Pasquantino, Tommy Edman, Brendan Lau, and Carlos Correa in his bum-ass foot. Outfield, Julio Rodriguez, Anthony Santander, Luis Robert Jr., Cody Bellinger, Jason Dominguez, and Lars Nootbaar. I do like this team. I think, like I said, it's got some guys that I don't have much of, and I like that about it. I think it's decently constructed. The pitching staff's got some upside. I really need like the Grayson breakout to happen this year, like badly, in a very, very bad way. Let's look at Rob's team from the 101. Rob, thanks again. All you guys, actually, thank you for hanging out with me and drafting with me. This is always fun. Drafting a team, chatting with you, reviewing everything. If you had a good time, drop a like for me. If you have any comments or anything, I'm open to feedback. Constructive feedback. If you're like, hey, your face sucks, I don't want to look at it, I can't really change that. So I don't know what to tell you. But Rob's got a 767. Thank you, Rob, for coming out here. I'm going to go ahead and review your team. So his pitching staff is Garrett Crochet, Jacob deGrom, Michael King, Spencer Schwellenbach, Kodai Senga, Brandon Woodruff, and Nick Pivetta. That's fun. Infield is Matt Olson, Josh Naylor, Michael Tolia, Salvador Perez, Xander Bogaerts, and Yainer Diaz. And then the outfield is Otani, Rooker, Trout, Lane Thomas, Evan Carter, Josh Flo, and Masataka Yoshida. It's an interesting team. Infield, you waited on infielders there. The only thing, like, I don't have a problem with this team you drafted. Let's be clear. It's a fun team. I probably would have taken Yoshida and made it another infielder, just to kind of give yourself, like, Salvador Perez is kind of an aging catcher, a little worried about at bats there. I love the Yainer Diaz pick though. And then we got FK Coolers, wanted me to check his team out. So he was in the 10 spot right ahead of me with a 6-7-7 build. Framber Valdez, Kevin Gausman, Mackenzie Gore, Jose Barrios, Zach Eflin, and Ronel Blanco. Infield, Gunner, Corey Seager, O'Neill Cruz, Adley Rutschman, Jordan Westberg, Jonathan India, Bryce Terang. Nice little Baltimore stack there. And then the outfield, Churio, Ryan Reynolds, Christian Yelich, Stephen Kwan, Jung Lee, Jesus Sanchez, and Heston Kjerstad to further the Baltimore stack. This is a fun team. It's a really fun team. Another case of like almost kind of a zero pitcher-ish build. Taking Framber as the ace obviously makes it not zero pitcher in the traditional sense. Yeah, take the speculative bat and Kierstad instead of a pitcher at the end there. I totally get it. Rob wanted 7 infielders, going to take Matt Shaw over Yoshida. Got nervous because Cubs signed Birdie and all the infield you liked were gone. Yeah. And like, there's going to be, as time goes on, there's going to be some infielders that, just pop up out of nowhere, like that we're not thinking about right now. Or, maybe Noel V. Marte actually plays, even though the Reds have 19 infielders still. We'll see what happens. Ben, one more, man. I don't have it in me tonight. Sorry. I wish I could, but I do not have the ability to do another one tonight. But I appreciate you popping in and tuning in, man. Next week is probably the only one I'm going to do this week. But next week, I fully 100% plan on doing one on Tuesday. And then I am going to definitely stream next Thursday with a guest on board. He and I have done a couple of streams together in the past, so I'm excited to have him on. We'll finalize all those details and stuff, and we'll see you then. FK Coolers, thanks very much for streaming and the draft critique. Definitely know a lot for watching these. Appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, thank you for the kind words. If you're in here live or after the fact, you've watched this, I don't even want to call myself a content creator. I'm just a dude who's on here drafting with people like that. That's all I want to do. But if you're watching this and you do not follow like the Stacking Dingers guys specifically, make sure to do that. Check out their YouTube channel. They've got a lot of great content running the gamut from, newer players to best ball to people who've been around for a while. Dark Sheep heads that up. Billy Jones is on there. Too Much Tuma, our guy Baseball. They do great work there. And Sheep was on with Davis Maddock today, talking about MLB best ball. And I thought that was a really, really cool thing. I checked that out. So, but they've got a lot of great information as well. And truly, once the bat comes out, I'm sure there's going to be a magical spreadsheet that will convert all that to Underdog scoring. And then we can really dive into, who's actually projected to over or underperform where they're being drafted. And then from there, I think that really the edge is just like player takes, like who are we guessing is going to outperform or underperform their projection, and hope we get some stuff right. So we'll see what happens, guys. Hopefully the bat will be out next week. Like I said, I'll plan on streaming on Tuesday. Absolute worst case scenario, I will definitely do a stream on Thursday of next week, unless things fall through. Appreciate you coming in, hanging out a bit. My name is Jason, aka Woo Woo J Train. This is Off the Rails. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks again. Take care.